everyone, and welcome to Recovery Matters, a special program by Lowell House. And I believe this is probably our 9th or 10th episode, but we've had a little bit of a hiatus. We haven't seen you in a while, and we're so happy that LTC is here, and what a great job they do. We're so excited to have you back. And we have a program for you today that's very special to us because September is Recovery Month. And as you know, Lowell House is in its 50th year of being the premier addiction treatment and mental health agency in Lowell. And we've been working with people in recovery now for really over 50 years. So Recovery Month and celebrating recovery is a very special time for us. For our residential programs, for our Recovery Cafe, which is new. You're going to meet someone very special, Richard Hollett, the director of the Recovery Cafe. For our outreach programs, and in a minute I'm going to introduce you to Gianna, the wonderful, amazing Gianna. And for all the programs we have at 101 Jackson Street, at 20 Williams Street, and throughout the community in 4 recovery homes and several sober houses. So welcome. It's good to have you here and good to be back, and hello LTC and hello Lowell. So the first thing I want to do is I want to introduce you to someone who I would say is not only an employee, but also a friend and someone I've known for so long. And the work she's done is pretty amazing. I'll tell you a little bit about it, but I just want to introduce you to Gianna Sandelli. And Gianna is our Assistant Director of Outreach and has kind of worked her way up through the ranks and has done amazing things. So you want to say hello to the people?
Thanks. Hi, everyone. My name is Gianna Sandelli, like he said, and I'm very excited to be here.
Gianna does and is one of the original members of the co-op team. And many of you know the co-op team. The co-op team goes into the community and does things with clients in where they are, if they're on the street, if they're in their apartment, if they're in sober houses, if they're under bridges and tents. They go right out to where they are. It's a joint project of the fire department, the police department, Lowell Community Health, and what am I forgetting, Gianna?
The health department and Trinity.
And Trinity is a big part of this with the great John and all the guys over at Trinity. So we're very pleased to have you here. So let's begin, because today is about recovery, and I don't think anybody knows recovery better than Gianna. Well, maybe Rich, our next guest, maybe equal, but Gianna knows a tremendous amount, and she is also a recovery coach. Right? And has worked with so many people in recovery. So Gianna, a little bit about what you do on the team and a little bit about what the team does.
So a little bit about the team is we respond post-overdose. Our main objective is to reach an individual within 24 to 48 hours post-overdose. Like Bill said, whether it be at their house, homeless encampment, out on the streets, in the community, wherever that person may be, and try to connect them with services, whatever that service may be. It could be detox, it could be a soap program, residential, just getting in touch with a primary care doctor, whatever type of treatment that individual may need at that time. Another exciting thing that we have coming up is for the other role that Bill's talking about is through a research grant, we're going to be adding to our staff a Latinx-specific naloxone distributor. So the goal is to have a Spanish-speaking individual with us out in the community. There's been a spike in overdose deaths among the Latinx community, so we're hoping to really engage with those individuals that we might be missing right now.
Yeah, and one of the things we do want to tell you is I think, did an incredible job, along with Marion Ryan and all our other partners in the community, of controlling and actually reducing the number of opiate overdose deaths. It is beginning to really rise, and rising dramatically nationally. But one of the reasons we've been able to keep it under somewhat control here is naloxone, or as you probably heard, Narcan. And Narcan basically stops an overdose in its tracks. It's pretty amazing actually to see a person take Narcan. In 1 minute they're seizuring and it looks like they're about to die, and the next second they're up and looking around and talking to you. And that gives us a chance to save their lives, bring them to the emergency room, and follow up. And I would be willing to bet you it saved hundreds, maybe thousands of lives in the community. So one of the things that Gianna was busy doing before COVID came, and when COVID was just here, is basically going out to the community and bringing people Narcan and making sure everyone had a lot of supplies. But now we have an actual community coordinator, a Latinx, and we'll be able to help a number of different populations out there in the community. And we're all about saving lives, because we believe if you can save a life, a person will eventually go into recovery. Sometimes it can take years, sometimes it can take, almost a lifetime. I've known so many people that end up in recovery in their 50s and 60s, and they go on to lead a good life. So maybe, Gianna, you could tell us, this whole recovery month, what is recovery?
I think recovery is different for every person. Recovery can be, like we talked about, staying away from drugs and alcohol, or recovery can be reconnecting with your family that you've lost touch with over the years. So a lot of people, when they're in the depths of the addiction, they start to isolate away from their family. They're no longer really allowed around the people that they used to be allowed around, and recovery gives them that opportunity to reconnect and start to have that connection again with the people that they lost. I think sometimes people get so far, not who they really are, that recovery gives them themselves back. I think that people lose who they are in the depths of addiction, but recovery gives them who they truly are back. So that, I think recovery is a way for people to start to reconnect with their family, their friends, and be who they really genuinely are.
So some people think when you're in recovery, and I think parents like to think this a lot because they have high hopes, and how heartbreaking when their child is addicted and constantly on the edge of potential death. When their child's in recovery and says, "Mom, Dad, I think I've got it back. I want my life back." And are they in recovery forever? Can the parents just say, "Oh, thank God they're in recovery"?
I think recovery for most people is a lifelong battle. You could sustain from drugs and alcohol for years, and you could end up going backwards. So I think for a lot of parents it's scary, because at first they're like, okay, they're in recovery, we did it, this is over, we're done. Like, they went to detox, they went to treatment. From my experience with working with people that have substance use disorder, it's a family disease. So it's the individual might go off to treatment and understand their triggers, what makes them relapse, what causes them to pick up a drink or a drug, and they understand more about themselves, but then they came back to the same environment.
Right.
So in that sense, I think that there's always going to be some type of recovery process throughout their life, that they know where to be, where to stay, the people that they're safe to be around, things and that trigger them to avoid. So no, I don't think there's ever an end to recovery.
It is a lifelong battle, and what we say to people when they say, well, just once a person gives it up, don't you just give it up? It has a lot to do with the brain, it has a lot to do with the disease, and basically people battle it through the lifetimes. How do we keep them in recovery in 1 minute?
We send them to the Recovery Cafe.
That we do.
Stay engaged with people that are doing the same things that you want to be doing. Stay positive. Reach out to individuals. Don't be alone. There's plenty of us out there that all want to be together, and staying isolated is not going to help.
So you're about to see several folks that we know. Some of them are friends, some of them are clients, current clients, some of them are former clients. They're all in recovery, and they have some amazing stories, and we'll talk about that with Rich afterwards. But I want you to see this. They all did their own clips, so it's very heartfelt. And when you see it, you'll wonder, you'll really feel what these people feel and what recovery has given them. So let's roll that, and we're going to say goodbye to Gianna. Thank you.
Thank you.
And when we come back, we're going to talk to Rich Hollett from our Recovery Cafe.
It's so hard to think about what I would say to my children about my journey, because it's been a long one. It's been, a really long journey to get where I am, and it's constant. It will continue. I'll always have to maintain my recovery on a daily basis. But, I hope that my children know that now they're a huge part of the reason why I stay clean. you know, and my family, my husband and my mother and my siblings are really, you know, like just the most amazing part of my life, and I'm so glad that I have them to help me, but also, you know, I'm so glad that I'm just alive to be with my children and to be with my family. It's really a blessing.
What does recovery mean to me? Recovery to me means everything. I think recovery is, to me, it's life. It's a second opportunity. It's a new way of life. When I found recovery, I think recovery just gave me everything. I had lost everything due to active addiction. So getting clean and getting connected with the recovery community, being in recovery, just gave me everything. I never thought that I'd be able to get a day clean, and you know, to have multiple years to work in the field, to have the material things that I have, to do the things that I do in my community. It's all based on recovery. That has been my life. Recovery is my life. Recovery is everything to me. So without recovery, I don't know where I'd be. I would probably say that I could say that I'd probably be dead or rotting away in a prison. So I just thank God that I found recovery, and again, recovery is everything to me. Thank you.
Hi, so my name is Angela DeAngelis, and this is what recovery means to me. Recovery means so much to me. It literally saved my life. It gave me my life. It taught me to respect myself, and it taught me how to live again. But recovery is a choice. It's not just about being clean and sober. It's about putting in the footwork. When I finally turned my will over, and I had to trust, I knew I was not alone. Now so many beautiful things have happened for me. Like relationships I thought were broken forever are finally healing. I'm going back to school, and when I wake up in the morning, I'm truly happy. So recovery means the world to me. Recovery is my world today. If it doesn't come first, nothing will follow. So those are my thoughts and what recovery means to me.
Dave, what does recovery mean to me? Recovery to me is an opportunity that I get every single day to better myself, to be a better person in my community, to be a better parent, and to be a better boyfriend. Not that I need a lot of work in that regard.
Hey everybody, my name is Mike. Very grateful to have been asked the question by Kate and the people at the Recovery Cafe in Lowell. What recovery means to me? How do I define it? Well, it's evolved over the years. It's taken on many new meanings, and I love that because somewhere inside of me that means there might be an open mind. I'm open to new experiences. I'm open to new ideas. I'm open to opinions. I'm open to other people's experiences, which help mine flourish, and it helps mine when I get stuck. For me, it's all about purpose today. It really is, and I think truthfully it always has been. When I truly found out that I could be useful and helpful to another human being, and really use my voice for those who are voiceless, for those who are, crushed, and use my privilege appropriately, that was big. To utilize my past transgressions as assets and actually tell people and show people, more importantly, that they're not alone. That's my purpose today. That's my recovery. Thanks.
Recovery means to me. It means peace of mind. I don't wake up in the morning wondering what I did or who I hurt the night before. I go to bed knowing that I was honest and a good person that day. It gives me the opportunity to have my life back. I'm able to be there for other people. I'm engaged. I'm a student. I'm a daughter again. I'm a friend again. Those are things that were taken from me when I'm not sober.
Recovery to me is a mindset. It's not a destination or a place that I'm trying to reach. I don't view it as I used to use substances to make myself happy or not have to deal with problems, and now I don't use substances, so I'm dealing with the problems all the time. I look at it as I love myself now, and I didn't love myself before. And I also care about my future and the future of all the people in my life and the people that I love. And I don't want to negatively impact myself or my future or my emotional state or my spiritual state or the emotional future or spiritual states of anybody around me in my circle, people that I love, or just people in general. I don't want my behaviors to negatively affect anybody or myself.
I have everything going for me right now. I own my own business. I have a wonderful fiance. I have a little fur baby. That's what we call our dog. And I just focus on my family. I have my nephew down here sometimes. I work with my brother now. To see them talk about me and how proud they are when they're talking to me, I don't want to lose that. It's a good feeling.
Hi, and welcome back. I hope you enjoyed those. I find them so inspirational, and they're people we know, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. And we know some of the stories, and some of the stories are very dramatic. They're very special people. So, but before we get there, I want to introduce my second guest, and I believe that this is what, your second time on or third time on?
Second.
Second time on. And that's because he's so good, we had to have him on twice. And his name is Rich Hollett. Many of you know Rich out there in the community. He is the director of the Recovery Cafe and recently promoted to the division director of Recovery and the Recovery Cafe. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Close enough?
Close enough.
Yeah, too many titles. But anyway, Rich has been terrific, and he is a recovery coach. He works so much with all the people in recovery. And he's going to describe the Recovery Cafe for you a little bit. And then we're going to talk about the clip and some of the things that we found out about recovery when we saw these. So, Rich, tell them a little bit about the Recovery Cafe, which is open now.
Yes, it's open and reopen.
Yeah.
Recovery Cafe is a model out of Seattle. A few of us from Lowell House flew out there a year and a half ago, and then ultimately we opened ours here in Lowell on 20 William Street. And it's a very, very special model. It's based on the premise that every human being has value, regardless of past mistakes, regardless of substance use issues, mental health issues, homelessness issues, re-entry issues. It really, even the physical space as well as the support within the space is specifically designed to convey love and human value and dignity and all those things that every human being is entitled to, no matter what.
Yeah.
It's a membership program, so the membership requirements are very simple. 24-hour sobriety. We're not asking a lot. We have weekly recovery circles, which are the official language of them. It's basically a check-in circle that happen weekly, and people are held in loving accountability by the same group. It's a sort of an ongoing, keeping the group the same. So people, the whole space, you develop connections. The recovery circles, it's even a deeper version of those human connections. And it's a way for people to check in with each other. And one person says, you know, by next week I'm going to apply to 3 jobs, and they come back to the weekly recovery circle, and people check in with them about that. And it's a nice way from peer to peer to hold each other in loving accountability.
And, you know, there's a long-term tradition for people in recovery. And one of the things it does is bring people together. And that's so important, isn't it? Because ultimately, probably the thing that kills most people in addiction and kills most people, period, is loneliness.
Absolutely.
And you cannot be lonely at the Recovery Cafe.
No, you can't. We have a school for recovery that really is so member-driven. it's hard to, specifically say what the current classes are, because they're always changing depending on the specific needs of the members. And it's not just conventional relapse prevention type classes. We have people who are interested in art and music, and we're going to do what we can to make, get what they need to play the guitar and get an instructor to teach them how to play the guitar. We have yoga classes, meditation classes, resume writing. We had a pumpkin decorating event in tie-dye.
Tie-dye. I wanted to tie-dye.
I did. I'm not, I wish I had my tie-dye shirt on because it was pretty good.
If you say so yourself. Right.
And these are all part of the Recovery Month celebrations. This coming Friday, we're having a rock painting event where we're going to write messages and draw stuff on rocks, and then the members are going to take them out in the community and leave them places for people to find.
And that's a really nice emotional experience. It's really saying something to the community. So when we saw Dave on this, you know Dave?
I do.
You do? Okay. So Dave came in and said, it makes me better in the community. What did he mean by that?
Well, my interpretation of that is that, recovery, as a general broad definition, is sort of returning someone to their potential, returning someone to their life.
Yeah.
So part of someone's potential is going to be expressed through contributing to their community. It's going to be contributing to their family, contributing to their loved ones, and contributing to their community, and contributing to their workplace. So it's sort of a natural consequence of someone becoming realigned with their potential.
Absolutely. And people often think of people with addiction and people with mental health issues as very selfish. Always thinking about me, always doing stuff for me, always giving pleasure to myself. In the end, they are people that want to be part of the community, and they want to have relationships. They want to know love, and they want to know connections. And that's what recovery does for a lot of people. Now, in here, we have two of my favorite people, Wendy and Louie. And Wendy is a wonderful story. If you remember Wendy, she was the first person, and she looks wonderful at this point. She has, 3 children. She's been married for a while. She's a nurse, and she's been very successful. But back in the day, when she was in our SOAP program, our outpatient addiction program, they said she would never make it beyond the next few months, that she would be dead. That's the kind of addiction problem she had. She found the inner strength. She found it in her husband. She found it in her children. And that was so important to her. And Louie's probably the best story of all. Louie is our uber recovery coach in the community. He's known by everyone, Louie Diaz, and spent, 10, 15 years incarcerated and long time addiction, heavy drugs. And he came back 23 years sober. The main thing, Rich, is they still go to groups. Why do they still do that after all these years?
Well, I have my own opinions about that. I think that, life is a journey. Recovery is a journey. It's an unending journey. You never get there. Mm-hmm. But that's part of the beauty of that. That's why we're always advised to live in the moment, because you never really get to the destination. You're just reaching for your potential and your best life. So in order to do that, and, you need to continue it. So for some, it is attending groups for the rest of their lives. It isn't for everybody. Other people's support comes in a different form, but they're attending something, they're tending to something.
Yeah, and I wish we really had more time to talk about it, because this is such an important topic. But for a number of people we know, they, even after 30 or 40 years, the people in the groups they go to are their friends, are the people they connect to, and it's been a long-term journey for them, as you say, and they've been able to share that journey with loved ones and friends. So I think it's absolutely wonderful. You heard Bob in there say, and it's part of our new mission statement, we actually got it from Bob, and to live a life of purpose.
Yes.
And what do you have to say about that, and then we'll kind of finish.
Well, again, it sort of goes back to me saying recovery is about returning to your potential. Living a life of purpose isn't specific to people with addiction problems. Living a life of purpose is quite important for anyone living a life.
You're right, but maybe when you're addicted, you don't feel you have a purpose.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So again, part of recovery is identifying that purpose and remaining aligned with it.
Right. And the people I know are hypersensitive about all the things they have in life, the love they have, the care, and everything else. So I'll do what Rich taught me to do and say our love to all of you out there. We do have an event coming up. We want to talk to you about it. It is a special sort of pandemic event. We will be doing backpacks at the Recovery Cafe on October the 24th, along with the Rotary Club. And in those backpacks, we will have, we call them our winter survival packs. We will have blankets and gloves and water and everything else, the kind of thing people on the streets need to survive. If we can help them survive, they will get into recovery, they will get a life of purpose, and they will have a happy life. And again, that's what everyone wants. So we thank you so much for joining us and so much for being part of Lowell House. And hopefully, with a vaccine, certainly, we'll get back to a new sense of normal. We have our big 50th anniversary celebration in the spring, God willing, with everything. And we'll hope to see you all there. So thank you from Lowell House. Happy Recovery Month.